Okay, so to continue discussion about this 2D space game, um, we first need to create um, the scrolling. Well, not first. Continuing this discussion, we will do a scrolling background as well to make it look like the player is flying through outer space. So in order to make that, we'll have to start by making a quad. So if you go like here and you do a 3D object, and then you can click quad down here. I've already made it, so I don't want to make it again. But that's what you would do is you would make a quad to begin with. So when you're creating it, you make it a quad. I have it here under my background elements as part of background. And then if I pull this over here, we'll do it this way again like we did before. Um, that I just renamed it quad from quad to background. And it comes with this quad mesh filter, which we need to make it look like it's scrolling. And we need the renderer as well so that it looks like it's scrolling. And then we added the background scroller script, so I'm going to explain that script and how to get it to look like it's moving. Then the other thing that we need to do is to actually change the sprites. So all these sprites have these arrows on. That means that they're just those pictures. So like if you took a look at one of these, let me move the whole thing over and for it to go nutty and do what I do not want it to do. Oh hey, it cooperated today. Oh good. Okay, so if you look at any of these sprites with the arrows on, texture type is Sprite 2D UI, and as long as you picked a 2D game out of the start from Unity, it's going to come up 2D Sprite UI, and then the wrap is Clamp. And then like you can change it. So if you start a 3D scene, you could have changed it to. You have to change every single sprite to 2D and UI in order to get the sprites to be read in a 3D scene, in order for 2D sprites to be read in a 3D scene rather. But for this, here we go again. Sorry. I do not like it that it does that. Okay, so for this, because I'm not going to change it, in order to get it to fit into the quad the right way, you've got to change it to default. So we changed it to default. Instead of clamp, we put on repeat, and that way it repeats again and again within the scene for it to look like the scrolling background. You don't want it to repeat for like just a single sprite. You want it to repeat if you're looking for that picture to be shown again and again. That's how it makes it kind of like scroll. All right, so we'll go and pause it there for just a second to show you the next part of it. And then to get it in there, all you do is just drag it up and into the scene. Well, probably not on game itself, but you'd probably want it on the scene. But you would just yeah, because it won't show it otherwise. But yeah, you would just drag it. Yeah, just like like that. It's already there though, so I'm not gonna drag it. But yeah, you just drag it right into the scene there. And then so we're gonna go now into the scripts. Take a look at scripts again because I made the script background so that we could actually see it scroll. So let me get that to pop up here. There we go. It's on its way. All right, so we made a serialized field. That way you can change in the inspector the speed. So if I hop back actually to my Unity already, just to show you, so we're in there, we need to go to background elements, and we need to go to down in here. We're gonna go background. All right, now we're in the background, and right down here is the background scroll speed. So game designers can change that speed. So made it in here in the code, made it a serialized field and a float background scroll speed. That way it shows up in inspector. You can change that speed. And then it's a material, the background, because we had we had to switch it to material in order to get the quad to read it. So I just showed you about the quad reading it. And then we're going to create that vector too as well. So at the beginning, before the update start, you're going to get the component. You're going to get what you're trying to go after. Well, sorry, material. You're calling the material, because I just called it my material. Just there, my material. All right, so but it is a material. So my material is the background scrolling atmosphere of space. And we're going to get that component. We're getting that renderer. We're getting that renderer of the material. Okay, and then the offset, we're creating that new vector too. X, Y position. So X is 0, Y positions the background scroll speed up here, because we're trying to find out how fast it gives it an element that you could speed it up or slow it down if you don't like the speed that it's scrolling. And then we have to update it. So material, main texture offset, the main, because it's the main texture. I don't have any other textures, but it's the main texture. If it is more or equal to the offset, we're going to times dot delta time. This is always there so that it can, once again, save computer, because that way, if you don't have time delta time, it'll slow down your computer. All right, so that's the way that it was programmed to get that background scrolling functionality to work. All right, so we'll pause there again. And then we're going to discuss about the particle systems as well, because we had a particle system on our thing along with the background scroll. Oh, I forgot to bring those up. Let me pause to get that here. I'll put it up here in a minute. But anyway, to create the particle system within Unity in the first place, you go down here to, is it gonna, oh yeah, good, it's right at the very edge. So you just hit effects and you hit particle system, and it'll be there for you to mess with. So underneath my background, with those features in to make it a scrolling background, we're going to take a look at the game itself here in a minute. Actually, it's showing you ahead of time that all this stuff is already set up within here. So I've got a star field. I've got 2 star fields of stars being created. When you get the particle system, this stuff pops in automatically. Basically, you can change the color. I don't really want to though, because I like that color for the stars. But you have a full color wheel that you could change what color you want those to be. They're actually not red. Those red outlines are showing you where your particles are, according to what you've done here. So yeah, we'll discuss that here in a minute too. Let me bring up the other papers as well here so that we can start crossing stuff off again. So here's our feature list again, and unfortunately I forgot entirely to save. So, but let me go through. So we got the player movement, we said, we got the enemy, we got the different paths, got enemy spawn, we got player shoot, enemy can shoot. We've got the projectiles. We did not have the score yet. Let me start doing this again though. We were stuck on score still. I think we had the health. We covered game live, player movement, boundaries. We did not get to main menu yet. Let's start crossing it off again. Waypoints. We did waypoints. And we did the enemy move speed. We said how you could change enemy move speed. Spectre. Multiple waypoints, multiple paths. This is kind of like the same thing, but I don't know how to put it. We have the ability to constantly fire with enemy and player. They can press the mouse button, count, shoot. We did time between spawns, random spawns, multiple types of spawn. Ability for them to die, colliders, different amounts of hit points. We talked about that. We talked about cooldown. There we go. Okay, so scrolling background. We just did the scrolling background. Yay. So we are now here on the particle system for the VFX PEX. Star field particle looks like moving stars and then explosions. So for that part, we are on we are on this, these are the star fields, so they're supposed to look like moving stars in the background. So that's the part we're on right now. All right, pause that for just a second here. Okay, so first part about the particle system that we can talk about is, so if we go here and, wait a minute, come on, there we go. So right there is my particle system, and you can actually move it around. Let me, it like went right onto it, which is what I wanted to do, but I also want to be able to move it. So if I go up here to the move tool, I can move it. So I have it like right there. Like if you didn't want it, you see, you can move it here, and then it'll affect it like a different spot. So, because to begin, when I was doing it, I wanted so that the stars come down. And then I actually ended up having to rotate it because it was actually pointing this way. So the stars were going like from bottom to top, but I want them to come from the top to the bottom. And like, so that the idea of them going through space and that they're coming like at the player instead of going away from the player. But like the whole, yeah, see, so both of them, and you can see they're popping down there, like they're, yeah, but you can move this, so you can move it here, and you can rotate as well. I don't really want to rotate right now, but there you could rotate it, which is what I ended up doing so that I could have it in that position. And then all right, I'm just gonna move it back where I had it. There we go. There we go. All right, and then we're gonna go and look at the other parts of Starfield here. Give me just a minute. Okay, and then we can talk about like the shape of that particle system as well. So if I'm gonna bring this over. All right, so ow. Sorry, I've got a dog here and he just scratched me. Shape. Okay, so the shape. Stop it, dog. All right. The shape is okay, so right here. And then you can change like the ideas here from the shape. Like right now, I have a box shape right there, so you can change it, and you can make it like a different shape. Since I messed with it though, I'm probably gonna just leave it in its box because I kind of like what it's doing right now. But you could change like and it could mess with the way, see, that it is affecting the whole thing, but I had it lined up for box, so we're going back to box. Okay, and then you could also like change the scale of it. Like I have it at 12.6, that way it could go right through that area. But you could change it, you can have it less, you can have it more, to change the shape of it. If you have a lot less and you change it all white, it might look like snow falling. And then the other parts of this too come into play here. So, like duration is how long is this going to last? So you can play with all the parts of here. That's the start color, so we talked about that already. The start size, that's like how big are the actual stars. The other size in the shape was like the cone. Like how big did you want that cone? Or how big did you want that box? Did you want it, because I made it so that it covered like that whole area, that whole box of play that we see. So that the star field would affect the full area, but I don't want it like giant because it only has to affect the one area in the game. But like start any start speed, so you can play around with it on how fast you want your particles to go inside of your system. And that's what's going on over here too. You can get it to the playback time, the playback speed. So you can affect this part of the speed. You can affect this part of the speed. You can tell it everything that you want to do. And you can just spend a lot of time playing in here all day to get it set up the way you want it here for the star field or whatever you're trying to do for the particle system. But yeah, it all takes apart their particle system inside of Unity, so it's a nice system feature that's already there that game designers can play with. And then to just get them to look slightly different, because I have two of them in here, I just changed the size and stuff on it. As also have Starfield 1, I have Starfield 2. So some of these are like you can notice right away that the colors are different. See, this one's white, the other one is like more purplish. They would have different speeds. This one's a bit slower than the other field. The different sizes, this one I tried to make smaller than the other one. So I got 0.1 start size and 3 on the speed over here on the white smaller star field. So what did I say again? 0.1 and 3. So on this star field, I'll bring it back. So, oh, I actually do have them the same size. Huh, didn't realize. Okay, but start size, we have 30 instead of 3, so that's a lot different in terms of speed. And then we also have an effect also with the VFX, like explosion stars. So we have them in here for VXS. You just would create the material. So that was material that we created. And I right here is where I created the material. I just did the same thing. I just named it material. And then if I pull that over, explosion particles. So that's it's just ready to help as well here. Actually, I'm going to change the color of this too while we're here since it's explosion stars. Ooh, what if we had it like blue? Then you could see it a little bit better. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, and then and now it's gone. Hold on, give me a minute here. Goodness. Goodness. Okay. But you can play with this one as well too. So that it would be uh it's oh rats, you can't really see the box really well, can you? Give me a minute. Let me see if I can pull it. What if I pulled it way over here? There we go. There we go. Okay, so like now you can see it. So you can play around with it and you can add collars and things. So now it's going to go partially blue down that way. And then if you can go, come on, come on. No, no. Yep. Okay, so then what did I do? All right, now I'm creating a blue one instead of a red one. Did have red, so now we're gonna do red field now next. All right, whoops. Now I've got more. Control Z. I don't need all this. I do want this one though. There we go. There we go. All right, and let's make them white. There we go. And clear at the end. Come on. At the end. There it goes. Yes, you just can play with it as to what color you want to make it to turn it into a gradient. So because it has it like a gradient editor, and then you just play with it to get it to do what you want to do within. So you just so you collect gradient to get it to do whatever you want it to do there. So yeah, anyways, when you're doing this with the particle effects for explosion particles, you're working with the particle system again. The same thing to do with the stars. That's the material that we use. So that's like we set picture right over there, and we changed it to material, so that we used that material to get it to, and you just drag it over after you change it to material. After you change that 2D UI into material, and then you can change it to. So we have alpha blended. You got the type of picture / material after you change it to material. So all of this to make it work. Again, like the other particle system, you can play with it. You can have start speed, and the size, like the size of the object, the size of the stars, basically. So you put all that in there together. That way it looks like the exploding stars in space as well. So I think that's all the end that is the end of basically what we have set up here for these VFX. So we're going to go on to the sound effects next. Okay, now to have actual the sound effects though, yeah, you're going to have to add the audio components. So right here, these are the wave files, or the files, audio files just coming in. So I just made a thing, a folder, called it audio. But you're gonna have to call it, so you need the script for that. Yeah, well, so, and I do have a music player, which I'm gonna discuss here in a second, because that gives you the background music. But for that SFX, I think I put them inside of each of the player and the enemy. I'm pretty sure I put it in the enemy. Let me make sure I put it in the enemy. Yeah, it would have made sense for it to put it in the enemy, didn't it? All right, where'd I put? Yeah, enemy. Okay. Oh yeah, enemy VFX. Because you did have to get that to make sure you can play with the duration of explosion, and the depth VFX, so that you could see enemy exploding, and then the duration of explosion. So, but anyway, for the enemy sound, you got an audio clip, so you have to call the audio clip, and then I called this one death sound. And this is the range, 0, 1, to get it to deaf sound volume. And then an audio clip shoot sound. So I have a 1 deaf sound, 1 shoot sound. So that, and that one's called deaf sound, one's called shoot. So this gives it the ability to die. This gives it the ability to shoot the SFX sounds. Okay, so if you go down here, and then it's like, where would you put them? So when you're firing, you want to put this sound in when you fire. So calling it then during the fire function, I want to go back to audio source. I want to play clip at point is just what are you playing? It's the sound that you're playing. So that gives you a box in the inspector to drag those wave files up and stick them into that point, so that you play whatever sound you want to play, and you don't mix up, like, I don't know, the player death sound with the enemy shoot sound or something. So you got and this is what goes into it, you're going to get the shoot sound. This is like the position that's going to be, because you want it. I'm just putting up the main camera, so that camera that's in the middle, which I'll show you here in a minute, it's grabbing that camera's position. It's going to play it right in the middle of the screen, because this is a 2D game, so I'm just going to put it right in the middle. I don't have to, like, I would change this if it was like, a bigger world and it was within one object. I wouldn't want to play clip right at point right at the center. I'd want to play it at the on top of that object. But then it was, and then last part, I'm calling that shoot sound volume again to get it to work. And then down here, kind of have the same thing going on with die, audio source, play clip at point, def sound, the camera, and then def sound volume to get it to work. So to look at this, how this works in game, then what I'm talking about with the camera, I'm still in my explosion effects, aren't I? Let me go back over. Gotta behave or not go over. Not gonna behave, are you? Okay, there we go. So there we go, main camera. So it's getting that position there, and the sound is coming from this part. I'm gonna just put it in the middle because they're shooting. And it's just gonna cover the whole screen, so I just put it in the middle, threw it in the middle there. All right. Anyway, we had something similar here with the player as well, so if I pop up the player script as well. And so, yes, serialized field, audio clip, def sound, audio clip, shoot sound. There we go, we got it again. Range 0, 1, it's a float, def sound, shoot sound. The serialized field, so you can change them inspector, you can make them louder, you can make them softer, just the way that I set it up here. I have the def sound louder because it's like an exploding ship, as opposed to the shoot sound. It's softer because it's just, you know, the bullets coming from the spaceship. That's why these sounds are different, higher, lower, so on. And then I did the same thing there for the enemy. And then, so here, that die, there we go. Audio source, play clip at point. I'm playing the clip that I want. I'm playing the music, the wave, the SFX, the whatever that I want to play. And then I'm grabbing it, sticking it in, so I need the def sound. Where do I want it? I want just sticking on the main camera again, and then def sound volume. And then where do I want it? Down here. Fire continuously. I'm doing audio source, play clip at point, shoot sound camera, shoot sound volume. So it's giving you how the volume. This is giving you the clip. It's giving you which wave file you want. This is bringing it in. This is the actual sound. This is where it is, the position of it, camera main transform position. It's going to be on that, wherever that main position of the starting off camera is. That's where it's going to play. The sound is going to originate from that area. And then this is the volume of it as well, so that you can actually hear that sound. Okay, so I think that's it for the sound effects as well. And you know what? We haven't crossed this stuff up. So let's go back. All right, so we did the SFX. And with shots fired, sounds of explosions. So because I separated them, the one was the shots, the lasers, and I said about how different the volume could be, and then sounds of explosions. So like when the ships die, that's the sound of explosions, and we explained these particle fields. So I'm going to cross this off, and those are now done for this part of the game. Now I know there's a way in here to like take it and create the scenes for the menu, like within inside of the game scene. A lot of people do that, but I was having some trouble, so I just made them this way. I just created 2 more scenes and then the code for that. So I'm going to go ahead and open this one. Sure, we can save. I made some changes, I believe. Also wouldn't be asking me that. Okay, so for the start menu, you know, the main camera comes already as soon as you create a scene. This is the background that I'm using. That's just a sprite, and then it was 2D UI, and I popped it up there for the background. And then I also have the particle effects on this one too. So here's my stars that are popping into the game. You know, and I explained all about the particle effects and everything as well earlier. So there they are coming into the game. And then let's talk about the canvas. So here's the canvas. So you just had to make the the actual scene itself. Yeah, you just have to start the text. So I just made text. So in here I'll just drag this over just so you can see it. So there we go. So it's start menu canvas, and then you can play with the size. It's the size that I chose. Screen overlay, display. All right, so there's the size of that. In the canvas, we need the heading text, and then you can also play with each of these as well. So pull that over here. I'm using TextMesh Pro, so that comes with Unity again, so I'll show you that here in a minute. The font asset creator, once you get your TextMesh Pro, you can just pull it into it. This changes the color of it. I wanted it white to go with the stars. You know, you can change all this inside here. Font size, you know, I can make this bigger. Let's see, I have it on 38, so I want to go back to 38. There you go. See, now it's big. I'm probably just gonna keep it 38 though, mostly because of that. That was the good size for, so it wouldn't go bigger than my screen. Um, and yeah, so you can play with the face color, the outline of it, the space, the color, all that. You can play with everything in here if you want. All right, so anyway, um, and same thing with the start and the quit, the actual text itself. Okay, so if I go into my assets folder again, um, Text Mesh Pro, you keep them all here inside of the thing, but you can get more Text Mesh Pro. You download whichever font you want, and it's gonna come in like this thing, and then you got to change it into the Text Mesh Pro. I think all the Unities now come with them loaded in. But old Unities, you have to go to it's either file or edit, and you have to bring in that aspect of Text Mesh Pro. Once it's loaded though, you got it. That's why you got Text Mesh Pro. You'd hit Font Asset Creator. Wish I could just go ahead and do that for a second. Once you pop in Font Asset Creator, you take the white one and you stick it in there. And then you say that generate font, and it comes up with this bright blue one. And then when you're working over here inside for the Text Mesh Pro, you drag that blue over here, and that is now what your text looks like. So this was a special free, 100% free. I always want to look at that for font.com. If it's not 100% free, you either have to pay for it, or you cannot use it, or there are things. There are things that go with that. Okay, so but that's basically the outline of the menu and how I set it up and everything. So we'll discuss here the buttons and such and the code for that. So we go in here and we go to scripts. So yeah, and I made the start menu, and I made the game, and I made the game over menu all separately to go into each one here. All right, so and then I think I have level. All right, it's game session. This is my actual game manager script, which I'll show you here in a second. But the level script, that's the one that we want to show you how we loaded the thing. So we serialized float, so you can change it. I had 2F, so we're going to delay it. Delay in seconds is how long before the menu starts, and that's not very long, just enough time for somebody to read the screen here. And then I just called a function, a load start menu. So I'm going to, at the very beginning of the game, when you're on that screen that I was just on, you're loading the menu. So we're going to load the scene manager, load game. And then the game session reset game, so it sets it each time, and then we're going to return. To load the game over screen, I'm just going to say load game over, and then start core routine, wait and load. So it's how many seconds we're going to wait till we load it. Since it's a core routine, it requires an I enumerator because our core routines require an I enumerator for wait and load. And then we're returning new wait for seconds, so how long we're waiting. And this is the actual time, the delay in seconds. And then you're loading the scene game over. So that gives it the ability that once you die, this plays so that the game over screen plays for you. And then at the bottom here, quit game. You can press Q and go out, or escape, and you can go out of the game for application quit, so that you do not have to keep playing the game if you do not want to. And that gives functionality to the quit button as well there. Okay, so that that way it's all finished there. And I gave the event system here that to take care of that with the music and everything. All right. So and then we probably should have done this a while ago, but we go ahead and start from here. load aliens with my attacker start quit. Press quit. Quit it. There we go. There in the ways. Particle effect here. And I'm just going to go maybe. There we go. And then as soon as you die, that's the destroy all mode. And then you, oh man. Alright, and then these guys work well, so and then quit works if I'm not build it, then you can bring it in. Alright, let me play again. Let's go ahead and bring up the game over screen as well, in case there's anything that I need to say about it. Game over. Game over. No, I'm not going to save this time. Okay, so game of canvas. There we go. And these actually have buttons. So there we go. It said play again button. So you press on it and that it starts to work. So if we drag this over here for the inspector. So it is a button. It uses the TextMesh Pro to get it to do. And then I also changed, because you can change the colors of the button. So like white right now. But when you press it, when you go over across it, it highlights it green. And you can play it. So highlighted color green. So if you're hovering over it, it's green. And then the pressed color is gray. So if you press it, it turns gray. So let's just show you that so that you know what on earth I'm talking about here. Here we go. All right. Let's play it. All right. So hover over it's green. And then when I press it, so hover over that one's yellow. Hover over that one's green. See? Pressed it. I'm continuing to press it. It's green. If I tap it, it goes to play. All right. So, but that's how they work. So they're set up as buttons, and they're called in the game through that script. Level is the script itself. It's just an empty game object here. I'll show you. Just an empty game object with the level script. And this is where, for delay in seconds, this is how long it takes for it to load. Like I said you could change it. So if you want it to load longer, you can make it higher number, less. You could drop it to 1, and then it'll be even less time for it to load. But I'm comfortable with the way it's loaded right now. So background scroll to enemy level. Okay, so in this level script, yeah. So quit game application quit that. So when you press on that, you can quit it. Load game. So we do need. I think we've talked. Yeah, because we did the core routine. So find object of type. Which one is it? Game session, because it's loading the scene game. If I had multiple levels in here, I would change it. I wouldn't just say game session. I would have to find the correct one that I wanted and do a plus at the end. And then it resets the game each time. Okay, so I think that explains that code for the management system menu and such. So let's go ahead and bring up my thing. Well, I still have to talk about background music. This is the main menu. This is the game menu. And we talked about the systems here for that. Here's the menu system for that up here as well. Okay, so we're only down to the score and the music. So let's talk about those things too. Almost done with the whole thing. Okay, so start with, you need actual music. I had two bits. So I have the audio, and that's where I'm actually getting my sound effects. And then I downloaded the complete music collection that was free, it says. So, and then I have all those different types of music waves that came in that file. And then once we got that, we created an object and created the object, and we named it music player to get it to do its thing here. So let me pull this over here too. Come on, okay. So music player, it's got an audio source. This is where you, and I'll talk about the code here in a minute too, but you just grabbed that music from the source and then stick it in. So it's playing Solar Eclipse right now. And then you can also change all this inside the inspector. You can change the volume. I can make it louder, lower. I can change the pitch. I can change, all this in here. And then I have the music player script attached, which makes it all work. So we'll also talk about the music player script. Oh, and then also too, you have to have it play on awake and loop. Play on awake means like it starts as soon as you press the button to go into that part of the game. And then the loop, it constantly loops so that you hear that music again and again and it doesn't stop playing. And then as for the audio source itself, if you just add a component, you can search for audio. See, there you go. And there's actually an audio source, even though it's not, shoot, you can't see it from here. No. Darn it. I'm trying to see if I can figure out a way to get. Alright, yeah, I do not know how to show you that part because of the wonderful technology that I'm working with here. But if you put down audio, well, you know what? Actually, if I do that, woohoo, see, audio source, and you can just add it in there. But if you hit audio, it's like at the very end of it too, and then that way you can just add that audio source into it so that it will play it. So yeah, and then I have the script for it. So I've got music player script, and because I showed you that it was attached. And it's set up as a singleton, so to make it easier, it's like a game manager. It's the only thing in the game manager, really. But it's just a singleton. So I set up singleton, and then it's going to find the object type, get the type, and this is just how long it plays. And if they find more than one, so that's what a singleton does because there's only one. That's why it's a singleton. There's just one of them. If there's more than one game manager, if there is more than one singleton inside of this game, it's going to destroy the other one. Else you don't destroy it because it's the singleton. So that way it sets it up so that you are able to play the music on every scene. And if I added music to the one scene and then I go to the main game scene and I manage to stick two of them in there, it will destroy one of them, and that way you won't hear like a double sound of both musics playing, and it won't mess it all up by making that a singleton in there. So that should basically cover the music part of it. So I'm going to just say, because that's the background music to the game. And by making it a singleton too, you can then change the different types of music that you want throughout the game. You can have different songs playing on the menu screen and then on the game screen. So the only thing we have left to talk about is how we are keeping player score. So to set up the score, we need an integer score that equals 0. As a serialized field, you can change it in the inspector, but that way it'll start your player score at 0. And then I'm setting up that singleton so that there's not more than one of them in there. And then if the number of game sessions is equal to the number of game sessions, so if the number of game sessions greater than 1, we're going to destroy that game object, which is the singleton. So because there can only be one, else don't destroy it on load. That way you'll have just the one singleton. And then we made public integer of get score function, and it's going to return the score. So we have this set up here inside of a game session. And then I'll show you the actual other score functionality here too. So we're going to add to score, and we're getting the score value. So if the score is plus than or equal to, if this score is greater than or equal to the score value, we're going to add to that score. So like you got a point, you destroyed a ship. That should add or equal that score value. So we're going to add more to that score. And then if we set reset on the game, so like if I wanted to add more levels, and you reset the game, your score should go back to 0, so you're going to destroy the game object and go back to 0. Alright, so, and then here again, so score display, and then we're going to look at it inside of the other part. Okay, so this is just to set up for the score. So text, score text, so that's going to give it text so that you can actually see it. We are calling the game session that we just made, that was in the other one that I just showed you, and we're naming it game session because we have to call it to get that functionality. So when on start, when the game starts up, when that screen starts up, we're getting that score text, and then we're going to get the component of the text itself. So we're getting the text, and then the game session, because we're calling the game session from the other script, and then we're looking at the game session in this script. So we're going to find the object to type, and we're finding the object of the game session. And then on update, score text is going to get the score inside of that game session, and then to string means it's going to string basically the numbers, is always the way I've thought of it. So it's going to string the numbers inside the game. All right, so talked about the music player, score text right here, score text. So that gives it that's the actual text box for it. And then if we pull it over, here's the you start on 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. That way it started at 0 and it doesn't start at like, you know, a huge number. So that it would start 0. Font size of that text itself. And then I added the script to score display, the one that we were just looking at right here. So we're adding that to get the score. And I wasn't doing a text font of Text Mesh Pro. I was just trying to keep it simple to get the score. Okay, so that would cover score text as well. And then I think that's it. I think we've covered all the parts of this game in this video. So real quick, we'll go ahead and play it again just to show you. I think I'll start it from the beginning though. That's a good place to start, is at the beginning. Start menu, here we go. So, go ahead and play. So here's my stars coming down the star field. There's big stars, there's little stars. That's the particle system and effects. That's coming down now. Title, shoot down aliens, and we said you can play with the types of colors and the stars really. And you know, so if I hover over it, it turns green. Basic color. And then if I press this, long press it, it turns gray. I'm gonna go start. And then skating. This time I'm playing, so I am getting it. Repeatable is either way to this. Alright, so. If you jump into any of these, you do get hit. And then it's for to play that video. I'll wait for it again. We're going to continue. And it does look like the background is scrolling, so that's good. And like I said, some of the And it should do and how long it takes to die. Okay, so I think that's it. I think that's the whole explanation. Stop playing it. That's the whole explanation of the game for my 2D space shooter. Thanks a lot.